Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 68 of Direwolf20's The Let's Play series. Today I'd like to start taking advantage of some of the things that we've been preparing for the last few episodes. So the last few episodes we've been working hard on making sure we have like lots of armor with really good protection and stuff on it. We've been getting a bunch of potions prepared and automated. That was a fun task. And then we also set up ourselves with a flux-infused bow that has a decent amount of power and infinity on it, so we can just shoot this bow all day long without any repercussions. Nice! What are we gonna go kill? Dun 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 dun! Teleporting! Yeah, it's Ender Dragon killing time. That is the plan. Advancement made. I spy. I don't know what that means, but I did something good. I'm bringing my portal gun with me so that I can go ahead and set up a portal that will teleport me to the end on a regular basis. Mostly because I want to probably be visiting this place every now and then. So, long story short, we're going to be killing the Ender Dragon at least once, and probably lots and lots and lots of times. So, boing, into the void we go. Dun, 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 dun. These Endermen have been thorning my side for long enough, and they need to die. So let's shut down all this stuff. I'll take out the caged ones in a sec. Nice. Everybody's like, why are you getting a bow, Direwolf? This is why. Yeah. Dude, that didn't even hurt, by the way. Holy cow. I mean, I did get the Phoenix Fire. Oh boy, okay, alright, so it did hurt. It's just Phoenix Fire protected me. You go, Astral Sorcery. You go. Is that everything then? In terms of, like, the protection thingies? Yeah, it is. Nice. Alright, hamburger time. Hamburgers. Bacon cheeseburgers, can't go wrong. Hey, Ender Dragon, come here. I have some wrecking to do. Oh, you're a loud Ender Dragon, aren't you? Alright, you chill down there, and I'm gonna wind up shooting at you from a distance. Unfortunately, he's immune to range damage while he's doing this phase of his attack, so I just have to kind of sit here and wait patiently. Nice. Take aim. Actually, a decent amount of damage from this bow. Holy cow. That is not a terribly bad amount of damage that you're doing. I will take it. I don't know how much damage this is, but it's a lot. I didn't even, like, put any buffs on myself. Not that the Ender Dragon is the hardest boss in the game. There's harder bosses that we're going to deal with soon. I brought these guys just as a in case, and hooray! We did it. Death to the Ender Dragon. Wrecked. So hey, we got a heart. Yay. This heart is from Draconic Evolution, and we're going to be using it. We're going to need a lot of them at the end of the day. But we're going to be using it for some good stuff at some point. We haven't heavily gotten into Draconic. The nice thing about the heart, by the way, is it always teleports into your inventory, assuming you're in the dimension, when the little particle effect thing that it does there expires. So, hey, come here, all you guys. Hi. If you guys want to have a fight, like, I'm cool with it. I'm just letting you know. It's going to end poorly for you. I know, there's Ender Lilies everywhere, right? Hey, cool. Nice. Portal opened. Should have brought a piston with me. Didn't. Pretty sure this thing doesn't work across dimensions, right? So let's set up where I'm going to want. Let's do it like here. This looks like as good a place as any. The end. Cool. So I should now be able to choose the end. Hey, I didn't look at you. Calm down, grumpy pants. Alright, should we jump into the portal as like our, you know, hey, we won the game, series is over. Ooh, not really. Just kidding. And I'm not going to read the old, like, you win the game thing, because that, no. We want a piston. And I guess we didn't need those potions after all, but they are absolutely intended for another boss that we're going to be fighting soon. I brought them with me, like I said, just in case. So, piston plus lever should be able to hook me up, and then I should be able to... Bzz. I am digging that. That is good times right there, ladies and gentlemen. Really love the Meat Creeps mod. Not only because I had a hand in making it, Creative design, of course, but because it's cool. Hey, nice. We've got a dragon egg. There's so many good things we can do with dragon eggs, by the way, that we're going to absolutely want to play with getting more of those, more than likely. So let's talk about what we're going to do with the first dragon egg. So there's a few things we can do. First off, dragon eggs can be used for GP, which I don't know if you noticed, but we have less GP than we did when we first set up our thing, specifically because water's been nerfed. Water wheels, what are they called? Water mills. Gives GP for adjacent flowing water blocks, yada, yada, yada. Progressive efficiency loss. Press shift for more details. So anywhere from 0 to 64 GP, there's no efficiency loss. So up to 64 GP, water mills are great. Then, when your GP is somewhere between 64 and 128, you have a 33% loss. I'm not 100% sure if that's like 33% on top of... So do you lose 33% starting at 65? Or is it 33%? So if you hit 65, it's all of a sudden a third of that's gone, and you're at like 48. I don't know. That would require testing, though I don't feel like doing. And then anywhere from 128 to 512, it's a 50% loss, and beyond that, it gets like even worse. So, long story short, I think Tama realized that these things are OP and found like what I think a pretty decent way to nerf them. So I like that he actually went through the effort to make them a little bit less powerful. So like they're good for getting started, but later on you're going to need something better. Dragon eggs can go onto the dragon egg mill, which isn't a terrible thing. It's a pretty good recipe, actually. That's totally easy and doable. Yeah, we could totally do that. So if we wanted to do dragon eggs on the dragon egg mill, that would be an option to give us more GP. I'm not sure that we're in a position where we need, quote unquote, more GP right now, but it's an option. The other thing that I would like to do, though, with the dragon egg comes from Draconic Evolution, and I'm not 100% sure if we can get to doing this, but we'll see. I'd like to, take a look at making the Celestial Manipulator. So to make that, we're going to need a Wyvern Core, which is a pretty high tier recipe here. So I'd like to start looking at Draconic, but we're not quite at the point where we can, do a lot with it. So we don't have a lot of Draconium ingots, I presume. Not actually sure. Let's find out. So I can teach these two patterns to get myself a Wyvern Core. Is there anything else in particular that's expensive in this recipe? Not really. And I've been wanting this thing for a while for a couple different reasons. And I'll show you in a bit. So between that, so the other thing we're going to need is the Dragon Egg to make this thing kick off. How are we for Draconium? So we're not terrible. We're not great. Draconium Dust can be used for a handful of things, FYI. Not a terribly large amount of things, but some things. So I'm not sure right now if I would like to auto process Draconium or not. Do I have a spot down here in my export bus, or would I need to add an exporter? Probably, I have a spot. It's because I'm not processing iron, that's why. What's my iron situation going on? Yeah, I could probably start adding iron back in here, right? I took them out for star metal reasons, but what I could do is grab a stack of it and just hold it in reserve somewhere. Maybe over here. What I'll do is just put it right over here. Sweet. Oh, I have a Celestial Crystal that I was working on for reasons. Cutting 100. Nice. Back to work. So I should be able to auto-process Draconium if I want. We would just need another export bus. And then we could decide if we want Draconium to be one of those things that we make it a point to do good stuff with. Let's do that real quick. So let's get Draconium. Let's get another export bus. There's an exporter back here. Aha. I see. That's right. So we already have two exporters. So I could throw Draconium on here. And then what I'd like to do, though, is let's go inside this compact machine real fast. So you're probably processing iron, right? So you guys are set up. I want to blacklist Draconium on these three. And whitelist Draconium on this guy. And I'm assuming that that will be fine, right? Nice. That's cool. So in a pulverizer, you get 2, and a tectonic initiator pulverizer, you get 3. So that's probably smart. So then if we pop out of here, that'll just improve our draconium situation. And we'll probably want to export our draconium here as well. Nice. Okay, that's cool. I like it. You're just taking your sweet time, aren't you? Did I have stack upgrades on you? Is that what I did? No, not really. I should, though. We'll get a pair of those. But meanwhile, draconium is going to process, right? And that sounds cool to me. Let's pop back in here and just get it running for a minute. And out we go. Just so I can make this celestial dude. So the main reason I got the dragon egg is because I want to make this, the celestial manipulator, a nifty little gadget. So we're going to need the wyvern core, we're going to need a couple blocks of redstone, and we're going to need a clock. And you should have no problem making a wyvern core. Really, the only expensive bit is the nether star. So in a minute, we should have enough draconium for this, right? Missing 5. Thinking about it. Still missing 5. You are, like, doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? I would have thought I would have had, like, 5 draconium by now. It's just backstuffed in here. Doing it's like, I take a minute to get out kind of thing. We'll just manually grab it. Now we should have no problems. And it's a quick craft, because there's no, like, machines involved. Alright. Celestial Manipulator. Sweet. I don't know how much power this thing actually requires, but let's get a wireless transmitter. I haven't entirely decided where you're going to live. Hey, look at you going all outside and not being mob orky. Where should this thing live? I kind of want him... Maybe like right... It would be cool if he was like right on the top of the center of the castle, the thing, but I've got something else there and I have plans for other things to be there in the future. He could chill in the Britannia area, like relatively somewhere-ish. Or he could chill next to the Britannia area for a minute and I could figure out something later with him. Cool. Hey, look at this. Celestial Manipulator. Alright, so he has an internal buffer of 4 million RF. I don't know how much he actually needs to, like, do things. Come here, zombies. I got something for you. Also, I don't like being blinded. Thanks. I like this bow, though. So how much power do you need to actually do something like... skip to sunrise? Doesn't look like he needs that much power. Alright, what you doing, buddy? Oh yeah, he needs a lot of power. Stop. He needs way more power than that. Alright, so let's do this. Let's do an energy cell. That should work, right? Power cell card. And a power cell. We'll stick him under here. And we'll stick you. Get a link to channel 2. Put the link card in here, and suddenly you've got plenty of power to dump into this bad boy. And I'm going to set out on all sides. Now we're talking. Sunrise. There we go. Beautiful. That's cool. So there's a lot of stuff this can do, obviously. So multiple things that this thing's capable of doing are as follows. Number one, he can manipulate time. So he can set sunrise, midday, sunset, moonrise, midday, moonset, skip 24 hours. That's pretty cool. All this stuff is going to be super useful. So for example, if I wanted it to be nighttime to do some astral sorcery work, all we have to do is hit the button, and this is the sun and this is the moon. So there goes the sun. Pretty spiffy, huh? then sunrise, right? Obviously the opposite. And weather you can manipulate as well. So you can make it be raining or stormy or whatever you really want to do. The other thing you can do with this guy is there's a redstone control. This little tiny button way down here that's really hard to see. Also, wow, this thing does take a lot of power. Holy cow. It takes like millions of RF per operation. Keep that in the back of your mind. Not the end of the world. Configure redstone control. Hey, so on a redstone signal, you can do any of these things. Stop rain, start storm, sunrise. So pretty much any operation you can do on a redstone pulse. So if you wanted a redstone pulse to trigger a sunrise, you could do that. So we could build some kind of system at some point. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it right now because power. But if you wanted to, we could totally build a signal such that when you receive a redstone signal, you set it to sunrise. How cool would that be? Right? So I could just, hey, I want it to be sunrise time, redstone pulse, and then boom, it's going to sunrise it. And that's going to be like a full day's cycle, by the way. Costing me large amounts of power, but that's okay, I don't mind. See? And then it cycles past night. Ah, cool. Oh yeah, he's killing it. He's doing a good job. See, we have like a net gain of around 12,000 RF a tick while that thing's running. And it'll bump up to like 18 or 19 probably. So it looks like it uses like right around, well, yeah, obviously 5,000 RF a tick. Because that's the max that this thing can transfer. Sweet. And now the internal buffer over there is filling up. Nice. So, hey, we have a really useful thing. Let's go ahead and look at respawning the Ender Dragon and getting another egg. So in order to do that, we're going to need those crystals, right? You things. Oh, we need more gas tiers. Oh, we need more gas tiers. Okay. That's okay. We'll be fine. More reasons to get into bees. I think the episode where I said, do you guys want me to do bees hasn't gone live yet. So once it does, I hope you had some opinions, and I hope they were positive, because I'm now more than ever leaning towards doing bees. Because, like, if we're going to need lots of gas tiers, and there's really no other good way to automate large quantities of gas tiers other than bees, I feel like we might have a reason to get into bees. Gonna go kill some ghasts. Back in a minute. Alright, we got enough gas tiers to do this at least once. Let's go ahead and make some end crystals. And remember how this works, because I don't. So we want 4 of these bad boys, right? Missing glass panes. You don't know how to make glass panes? Fail, Direwolf. Big fail. All around fail. Cool. Sweet. I'll meet you guys in the end. Alright, so if I'm not mistaken, it goes in the corners here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello. There we go. Nice. Alright. So that's going to be loud for a minute. We'll be right back. Alright. Another dragon fight. Nice. There's something to be said for having creative mode flight and killing the end dragon. And these awesome bows. That something is, it's probably a little bit. Can I get it, that arrow in there? Probably not. So let's just break this block. I don't want to explode to almost death again. Nice. So that should shut you down pretty hard. Alright, I'll be back in a minute when he's dead, pretty much. Alright, I'm gonna call him pretty dead. Nice. And hey, look, another egg. Perfect. Exactly what I want. And then, like I said, that heart will just teleport to your inventory no matter where you are in the dimension. So I could be like as far back away as over here, well outside of magnet range, and it should just bzz, right into my inventory. Sweet. Away we go, James. Back home. So guys, let's check in on our crystal here, because it's been a few minutes. So your power is at about 20.5%. That's not terrible. I'm using a moving wand here to help me out. So what I'd like to do is have a pedestal. Hello, here we go. More's coming in. Shouldn't be too bad on the whole, you know, radiation bit. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to worry too much. Any radiation usually doesn't have long-term effects. Well, sometimes it does. So the trick here is we're going to want, yeah, let's Let's close this up again. Let's sneak in here. I wonder if I can rotate this dude. Is he rotating? Nope. So we're going to try and place him like that. Is that the right direction? I want to say that's correct. Cool. And into here, we can go ahead and place the next resonant crystal that we're going to have. So that's another 100, 100, 100, right? 100, 100, 99.8. Close enough. Cool. So what that should, in theory, do is when this crystal burns out completely, which might not be too far from now because we're already at 18%. So pretty soon we're going to get to the point here where this thing's going to swap out. The other thing we might want to have is a crate sitting behind that. Again, we're trying to do this in as compact a manner as possible. So right here, we should be able to fit a crate. Cool. I like this moving wand. That's a good wand. I'm digging that choice. So that should now. So the pedestal, what it does is when the crystal that's in front of it burns out, in other words, it turns white, which is what's going to happen when it runs out of its internal power energy, it will automatically break it, and it will automatically place the new crystal that's sitting inside its inventory, and it should stick the empty crystal into the crate behind. We'll see what happens when it burns out, but in theory, that's what should happen. Sandstone, please. So I just wanted to get around to finalizing that build. Also, by the way, this thing keeps shrinking, and the reason for that is that I used the crescent hammer. If you used the smart wrench from RF Tools, it wouldn't do that. So maybe we should make one of those real quick. It's just a wrench. How expensive can it be? The answer's not expensive at all. Boop. Using the smart wrench will prevent it from shrinking back to a small form like it has been doing. So let's go ahead and stick you in here. We'll use that wrench for some other RF Tools related stuff in the near future. So that's cool. So we fixed up that. Part of me wants to like fully automate the whole keep a crystal in there thing. But we'll see. I might move on to another power source because for some reason you guys really did not like seeing me playing with deep resonance. Like I know I have done it a lot in the previous seasons, but I always enjoy automating it. Like came up with a whole new way to automate perfect crystals this season. I was kind of proud of that. So, you know. So now that we're starting to get into a good place with power, I think it's time to do a little bit of dimensional exploration. I know we're kind of getting towards the end of this episode, so it's a little bit late to be starting this in the episode. So I think my plan for today will be to just get the basic dimensional stuff up and running for you guys, and then we'll come back next episode probably and actually start doing some exploring. So, with that in mind, let's talk dimensions. So there's a nifty mod called RF Tools Dimensions that allows you to create your own customized dimensions that can basically be anything you want, from a void age to an ocean-only world to a world with a pink sky to pretty much the sky is the limit. You can create almost anything with RF Tools Dimensions, and it's a really cool and fun mod. So we're going to create a few things to get started here. So a dimensional inscriber is going to be needed. This thing is cool. It'll allow you to construct your dimensions by combining specific dimlets into a dimension tab. This is the block that you use to create your dimensional stuff for. Then there's the dimension builder. Once you've created a dimension, you have to go ahead and create a dimension builder, which will create the actual dimensions. So like first you define what the dimension is going to look like, then you put that thing into the dimensional builder to actually create the dimension that you can then travel to. Dimensional editor, we may or may not need this. Some dimlets can be changed. So basically like if you want to change the sky color, you can do that, but other things can't. So for example, if you want to change the biome that the dimension is, you couldn't change that. A dimlet workbench is definitely going to be something that we want. So we're going to want a couple crafting tables. And we're also going to take a look at these dimlets that we've been trying to collect. So when I right click this, it'll open it up and give me a bunch of stuff. That stuff is going to play a role in what we're going to be using here. And we'll get more into what that means a little bit later into this process. So long story short though, we want a dimlet workbench. Trust me. That's going to be what allows you to create the dimlets, which are used to define what your dimensions look like. Activity probe, energy extractor, and some of these other things we'll be getting into. Ooh. Oh, that's upside down stuff, right? Okay, cool. Some dimensions can be upside down, so anything that would fall when it's upside down has a inverted block form. So, for example, sand is DNAS, and it's upside down sand, so that it falls up instead of falls down. You'll get it if we find an upside down dimension, or if we create one. We'll see. So then we're probably also going to want some flux ducts and whatnot, just to get things rolling. We're probably going to want to go resonant, and I think I'm going to create like a really just simple little setup over here. Like, we don't need a lot, right? Inscriber, builder, and dimlet workbench can all chill here, and we'll tap into behind the wall to run power. Does that sound reasonable? So we should have some power things going on, or maybe underground would not be a terrible place to be for power. Sounds like our thing's running. Sweet. I wonder if I could measure the remaining energy and like write that to a screen somewhere. That would be cool. It would be cool to do, except for the fact that you guys really don't want to see that mod. But I thought it would be cool. So let's just run some power over here. And like I said, get the foundation of dimensional stuff up and running, and then we'll kinda... Didn't I? Okay, yeah, there it is. I was like, didn't I grab a bunch of resonant flux ducts? Yeah, I did. I just couldn't see them on my hotbar. Because I'm dire blind. Oh man, being able to fly like that is pretty much the greatest. So the inscriber doesn't need power, which is awesome news. Yeah. So let's talk dimension building. So we're going to play with this in depth in the next few episodes, and there's going to be a few dimensions we're going to create for a specific purpose, like the ability to get large amounts of specific resources, draconium, and you know, other things. But to get started, it's really pretty simple. First things first, we're going to need empty dimension tab. What this is just paper. So and we grab one of them and we place it in here. Now, up here, we could define what this dimension is going to look like with all of our dimlets. So dimlets are going to define certain attributes of this dimension. So for example, this is a terrain dimlet. It means that the terrain is flat, so it's a completely flat world. This is a single controller biome dimlet, which means that there's only one biome in the entire dimension, right? This is digit dimlets, which we'll talk about a little bit later because they're slightly more complex. You can specify things about the sky. You can specify the material that the world is made of. So if you want a world literally made out of diamond blocks, you could do it. The problem is the more complex the world, the more expensive in terms of RF it's going to be. But you could literally have a world made out of whatever you want. Like, it's crazy the level of customization you can do. You can affect the weather, you can affect the time, you can affect what structures generate, you can affect all kinds of features and terrain. It's like, you know, there's pretty much no limit. So the cool thing, though, is if you don't specify an attribute for the dimension, it will randomly generate one. So what we're going to do is create a randomly generated empty dimension right now. We'll call it dire dim1 and store this on this realized dimension tab. Cool. By doing that, we've just created a dimension. It's called dire dim1. It's going to be the next dimension ID in the list. I don't know, it's probably like 3 or 4 or something like that. And what'll happen is when we create the dimension, we're going to be able to travel to it, and it'll be totally random. So we have no idea what this is going to look like. Let's check it out. So by dropping it in here, it's going to use a bunch of power to create the dimension. Once it's done, you can see that it's storing power in the Realized Dimension tab. It can store about 4 million RF. So the dimension's now available to visit, and the 4 million RF is going to be staying in there, and then it's going to cost 10 RF a tick to maintain. So it's a totally randomized dimension. We have no idea what it's about. I think if we right-click it or something, we'll see some information about what it's going to look like. So let's go visit it and actually see what's going on. So to do that, ooh, time speed too. So it's going to be a pretty fast, oh, neat, cool. Look at all that attributes that are there. Spiffy. So to get to it, luckily, it creates a dimensional receiver in the dimension. So we can dial it. Make sure you have a way to get home, because without a way to get home, you're going to be stuck there. So trust me, teleporting home is like huge. It's like the end all be all if there's any dimensions. You really don't want to be stuck in that dimension. Trust me, it's a bad time. So we teleport there. And now we're generating this dimension. I have no idea what it's going to look like. Well, I have a little bit of an idea what it's going to look like. But hello there. Dimension. How's it going? So it looks like it, as you can see here, the terrain is island. The base block is stone. The base fluid is water. Cool. Extra ore, dirt, horizontal, chiseled stone. Cool. The sun and star brightness. So you can see the sky seems to be moving pretty fast. That's because the time attribute is doubled, right? So that's cool. Let's zap a bunch of these dudes. And check out this dimension a little bit. So it's an island dimension, which means it's literally an island floating in a void, which is neat. That's pretty cool. Nice. What do we got going on down here? Chiseled stone, dimensional cross block. So remember, some of the featured ore gen has dimensional cross blocks and chiseled stone. So there's the possibility that that stuff is world gen in this dimension, which is kind of neat. Not a super exciting dimension, but there will be more exciting dimensions coming up next episode. So what we're going to do is check out a couple different dimensions. We're going to try and find some cool ones. And then we're going to start looking at creating our own custom dimensions, which is absolutely something we're going to want to do. But for now, Darwell20 signing off. We've completely decimated our power. What is going on with you, buddy? You're probably... I bet I know what's happening with you. You're trying to fill this guy. Cool. Power should be back on now, right? Psst. Right? Might take a minute for power to kick back on, but we'll get to it. But yeah, it should kick back on in a moment here. It's just that this thing was overwhelming our storage system, which is no big deal. Cool. For now, Darwell20 signing off. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Take it easy.